Yeah, we are live now. I'm going to post. Actually, I think I might have to. Oh, I'm sure there's a way I can get a link to this.
Yep.
Where's the.
You have to go back to the.
Oh, you might have to leave. Do you want me to leave?
Just open a new tab.
Here, yeah. Okay, hold on. I can grab right now for us. Right here. Yeah, good thinking, baby.
Oh, wait, we can just
smart.
view right on YouTube.
Yeah, right here. All right, I got the link for you if
Right
you need it. Unless you got it.
I got it. No worries.
All right.
Close that before I get the tunnel of despair.
My best friend's a genius.
You're funny.
My best friend's a genius. All right. Hey, everyone. Josh and I are live for another typology talk
with Alex.
Featuring Alex.
The one and only. The queen, the females.
Check it out and have a chat with us. Boom. Posted. Okay. Oh, I didn't wait long enough, so now it didn't have this. Oh, well, that's fine. You know, sometimes when you do that, when you like post a link and you don't wait enough for it to like buffer the actual screen, like the thumbnail,
yeah,
it just doesn't show up. Yeah, that happens.
Oh, got it.
That's all good. That's a great feature.
By the way, dude, well, did you see we went on Pastor Personality's channel a couple of days ago?
I did see that. I haven't seen the video yet, but I saw it. I thought that's cool. What was that for in particular? Was it just
his channel and just
fun?
talking? Just we went live. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Was that his idea or your idea?
Well, we got him on our podcast, and then he wanted to get us on his channel. So,
oh, very good. Yeah. What do you talk about in your podcast? Does that sound like
Our Love, Our Journey? So
that was Our Love, Our Journey podcast.
Yeah. So just whenever we're going through at the moment, everybody's going through our relationship journey with us. Challenges we run into, and if we have solutions that we overcame, and then we share those.
And so you invite guests on once in a while?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, we've had for Savion. We want you on.
Yeah.
Man.
We would love to get you and your girl on if you guys are, if she's down. But if not, either way, it's fine.
I asked her about going on the channel and doing that game you're talking about, that card game, like him, her, me. She was down for it. Like she's she's into doing games and stuff.
Okay. You know. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys. I mean, that would be freaking awesome.
It'd be difficult with my webcam. It's like such a small radius. We'd have to be like literally.
Hey, more reason to get close.
Yeah. More reason to snuggle up.
That's real good. So, hey, everybody. I'm Julien, and this is Josh. We've already been live for 3 minutes just talking complete trash, but we're here for another live stream, and we're going to be talking about typology in regards to relationships and in particular kind of breakups and hardships and how we sort of navigate those, what leads to them, how we resolve them, what we kind of naturally move towards. And then we'll be talking about dreams and sort of typology, personalities, and dreams, in particular, nightmares. So it's so good to be streaming again with Josh and his lovely fiance, Alex. And we're all very glad if anybody's here to watch this. Yay.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday for those that it's actually Saturday for. Sunday for.
Keep remind everybody that I'm in New Zealand and I'm a day ahead in the future.
Dude, that's what Pastor Personality said. He's like, yeah, your business partner on the other side of the freaking planet. You know, I don't even know where New Zealand is on the map, but. But guys, we're so excited to be back with you guys and just spill our vulnerability out to you guys, so you guys can just hear what, you know, whatever we're going through, and we're excited to talk about some dope topics today. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that everybody can relate to, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people can relate to being in a relationship and sort of having these bad situations come up. Like, relationships are never easy. They're never perfect.
Never, ever easy.
For sure. And because of who we are and like what we naturally lean towards with our personality, troubles arise. I mean, good things happen, but also troubles. And sometimes those lead to breakups, and sometimes that just leads to arguments and fights. And how we navigate that and how we resolve them really comes down to our natural tendencies. I mean, we can explore our personalities and try to mitigate our weak points and our tidal waves and have more of like a growth relationship. But for a lot of the time, we're just going to be basically using our basic kind of tendencies to try to navigate our relationships as best we can. So, I mean, if we can start with Josh, how have you felt in the past, and even maybe even in your current relationship, how your
Sure.
tendencies and your personality have led to trouble sometimes, or maybe even good times, and how did you resolve them also with your personality?
Okay, so first off, we see a few people's watching. So for whoever's watching, by the way, Julian, the numbers that say where people's watching, it's always higher than it shows.
Really?
Yeah, I've noticed that. But anyways, so thanks for a great question. And by the way, for those who are watching, if you guys are in a relationship and you guys are typed and you're either you think you have your spouse type or you know, can you guys put your types in the? Can you guys message us and put the types in the screen, and we'll show them on the screen. I'm curious to see what types are compatible with each other. So because I'm an INTJ, she's an ENTJ. And I would love to see if there's our same type compatible for other relationship types and see what your experience is like. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
All right. But anyways, all right. So to answer your question, I think there's two parts to this. I think my type, it'd be challenging to date me for a couple in a couple areas. One, because my FI is, so let's say my emotional awareness is very, very low for myself. Okay. And the second part is I'm also on the spectrum of autism. I don't know if I told you about that, Julian.
No, you haven't. I mean, aren't we all really? Like, who's not on the spectrum?
I know, right. I really do feel that way. Yeah. So it makes it hard for me to kind of have that awareness of what she's going through emotionally in the moment. So emotions are just, I realize logic, I can process super fast. But when it comes to emotions, it just takes me some time. Okay, KK Bay Forever says, I wish I knew my partner's type, but he's pretty hard to figure out. Oh,
I think
yeah.
this is Rachel that we feature on our YouTube channel in the INTJ videos. Some of the INTJ
Is that you,
videos.
Rachel?
I'm not sure. I think that's kind of what my NIs put together. But
all right.
Are you out there, Rachel?
Well, you guys know that Dave and Shan were saying that there's always someone who plays the control role and there's always someone that plays the chaos role, even if you're both EPs or IJs, whatever. And so in our relationship, I play the control role. She plays the EP role, but she has SC and I've been I savior. Yeah. Oh, for okay, it is Rachel. What's up, Rachel?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. What's up, Rachel? All right, so cool. All right, so I think that's a challenge for me to give her the emotional validation that she's looking for. And then for myself to know what I need emotionally, because I'm disconnected from what my emotions are that are happening a lot. I don't really know the name of the emotions I'm feeling majority of the time, to be honest. And if I don't know that for myself, how the heck am I going to know that for her? So what happens is we might get in the fight and I'll get pretty mean because my FI is masculine, or so like my emotional state is like a masculine state. And I don't know how it's really affecting her. Do you see what I'm saying? But then later, like 20 minutes later, I feel really bad. But before then I don't. So that's how it affects me.
Like, just to clarify, the feelings that you're experiencing are kind of more immovable in a sense. They're more masculine, you're saying. And so when you're in an argument or a heated situation and you project those, you're not really aware, because you're not really aware of them within yourself. You're not really aware of how they might land or affect Alex in that situation.
Dude, it's literally like I'm driving blind and I don't know what I can say that can trigger her. So I have no idea. Like, and they say that's very common for autism, people with autism, like, which I am on the spectrum of autism. So it's like, it's very hard for me to know what's going to affect her. They call them allistic, you're allistic, and autistic. So neurodiverse relationship, they call it.
Sorry, what was that first term you used?
Allistic and then autistic.
Mollistic?
Allistic.
Like OL.
Like all.
Allistic.
Yeah.
Holistic, yeah.
Yeah.
Learning something new every day.
Yeah. So we're in a neurodiverse relationship, which makes it kind of challenging because, she's hyper aware of her emotions. I'm not. Okay. And so if I'm not even aware of my own, how am I going to be aware of hers? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it challenging. But just like you said, I won't know what's happening in the moment, but then it takes me some time to process, because like 20 minutes later, I'll feel terrible and I'll regret everything I said. But in the moment, I'll just turn into King Kong Josh and just feel kind of mean, or get kind of mean. And I regret that. So that's a big, honest vulnerability of mine, or kind of like a weak spot of mine, that I'm working on. But
yeah, how are you working on that? Like, how are you becoming more aware of it, or how are you applying that in your own
great
dynamics
question.
to work on
Yeah.
that?
No, that's really good. So for me, what I've been doing, so I do meditate daily, and I kind of treat it like a meditation session. So what I've been doing is kind of just my body naturally wants to jump out and get masculine and aggressive, whenever I feel her masculine energy popping out, but she has masculine emotions as well. And so whenever I feel that, it's like a masculine versus masculine. And so we both have the tendency to do that. So what I try to do is just go to my breath and just try to keep my body calm first. That's it. That's my only goal at this stage I'm at right now, is to just not respond and let my body not go with my natural instinct first, to stay calm. And then my next move, which I've been starting to try to get toward, is like then just giving her love in those moments I want to give her war. So then I'll try to like just give her a hug. And she did it with me today, where I was getting like fired up, and then she just like was saying, I know you're right, I love you, and gave me a hug. And it's very hard to like keep a fight going when someone's giving you love. So
does that work? Do you feel like that resolves the issues in the long run, and it works well for you?
I think it does the right thing for the moment. So I think it calms it down in the moment, because you're not solving anything in that moment anyway.
True.
And then we can go back later to resolving it for reals. The thing is, though, both of us being high in like our play energy, where we just want to kind of keep doing things and learn in the moments, where we might not want to go back and reprocess some of those things, but we just know we have to.
Yeah.
So that's the second half of it. If you're going to play that game where you kind of know you're not going to solve it in the moment, you have to follow up and do it when you're in a better state.
So here's a tip for the thinkers then that I'm extracting from this. If you're a thinker and you feel yourself getting a bit too heated in arguments in your relationship or in your friendships or whatever, maybe just take a moment, pause, breathe, stop, and express love instead of the logic or the animosity or the whatever kind of conflictory emotion that you're feeling. Express love in that moment instead, just to sort of maybe put the flames down a bit.
Yeah, because our therapist, so we have the same therapist, and then we do couples therapy, but then we do set individuals as well every week. And what my therapist said that have really stuck with me is, she said, because for me, I'll try to fix whatever's going on with her, right? Which I think everybody has some tendency to do, right? Mm-hmm. But she was saying that love isn't expressed by fixing things every time. And so for me, as a thinker, I guess like that really did help, because I was like, she said there's other forms of giving people what they need at different times. And so what I took that as is every time I have the tendency to want to express logic and give logical or try to fix something, just go in the complete opposite. It feels very weird because you're doing something opposite of your nature, but literally go opposite and just give love toward emotions, give logic toward logic. It's like kind of what I'm like realizing. I'm starting to see patterns, and that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So have you felt that this has been kind of like a major issue in relationships? Is this what you've been talking about, not being aware so much of your feelings and then projecting sort of feelings that you're not really even aware of in a heated moment, that you haven't processed within yourself, that you're kind of confused about, and then not understanding your partner's emotions, and that leads to sort of a breakdown? Like, what would you say that leads to ultimately, if you went down that path, if you didn't try resolving your emotions, if you didn't try to understand them, if you didn't go to the path of love and affection instead? Where do you see that ultimately leading to?
Great question. So I've noticed this pattern in all my relationships, which is why I know it's not her. Okay, like it's pretty obvious when you're doing it. You notice in all your relationships. Mm-hmm. For me, it's very hard for me to process. My lowest function is processing, as far as like, the personality type stuff. It's the sleep function, for those who know what that is. So processing, and let alone processing self and emotions, is challenging for me. So because I wasn't doing that in the past and in the beginning of this relationship, I realized it would come out in very snappy ways. So she could probably explain better than me, but like I would get short-tempered at times and not realizing where it's coming from. And I seem like super nice Josh on the outside. But hey, like, it's like a tidal wave. Like eventually it'll come, and sometime of the month I'll just be very irritable, kind of. And I don't want to be. It's weird. I deep down just want to be loving. So that would come out, but it would be more like little things would frustrate me. Like if the logic isn't good. For example, if she was cutting a tomato, it didn't really happen, but it's a good example. If she was cutting a tomato and she was doing it in the slowest, worst way, I was like mushing the tomato with a butter knife, then I would just get annoyed.
I do not cut tomatoes with butter knives.
Yeah.
But like
a real analogy.
That's a great analogy though, Cynthia. But no, that's a great analogy though. Is like, it would just really freaking annoy me, where I'm just like, oh my God, can't you freaking, like, why won't you just cut this with the sharp knife? Duh, let me just do it myself. That kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's an issue, but I'm really curious, kind of like in your past relationships, how that led to a breaking point, or how that kind of, ruined your relationships ultimately, because I'm sure everybody wants to avoid like a train wreck of a relationship going on, and you're in a great relationship now, so there's not really much to talk about in the sense of train wrecks now. And we've talked about how you've been resolving those and to avoiding those tidal waves. But what is the breaking point for you? What happens in a sense? Do they leave you? Do you leave them? Is it like you just detach from them? Like what happens in that scenario?
Dude, really good question again. I think what happens is it's not so much of a breaking point for me. It's more they're building up resentment toward me. And that's a big fear I have of our relationship, is especially her being low in speaking. Like her lowest function is like, speaking her mind, where that's my highest function. So I don't really hold resentment as much, because I'm just always throwing it out there, right? I could complain about something every day if I wanted to. I can always find something that's, so I don't have that resentment building, where I think it's more of that, but then like their frustration leads me to getting frustrated, and then I end up in the relationship usually. I think that's the pattern I'm noticing. So because to me it's not fun anymore, it's just got too serious, they're too naggy, and it's really my fault on the front end from not not.
You're gonna be the more decisive one in the end, but it'll be like their reaction to what you're doing and your flaws and their flaws going back and forth that leads to that. And I find it very interesting that you said about the building resentment, and that you aren't really the one necessarily building the resentment for the other person. Like you might be getting bored, or you might not enjoy the relationship if you see them building up that resentment. But I found that kind of in myself, not necessarily all the time, but very often as an introverted person, I feel like I'm the one who's building up resentment.
Yeah.
And I'm the one harboring onto negative feelings, because I'm not communicating. And maybe it's even being more of like a savior, or being more of like leaning towards feeling on the feeling side of the spectrum, that I am aware of my own values, and I am aware of what a sensitivity to feelings in general. And so I don't want to bring up a sensitive topic, because I don't want to get into an emotional argument in a sense.
Yeah, that's totally.
That sounds like her.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because she's far more aware of what she's experiencing emotionally than me. She, like times 10 it seems.
Yeah. And I don't want to cause a fight, so
she doesn't
I'm not about to bring
fight
on my emotions. Like,
which in my brain
good place.
is terrible logic, because you're gonna pay for it at some point, right?
It's true. You absolutely.
But I see both sides.
I do everything in my life to avoid conflict.
Yes, right. Yeah, and on the Enneagram, I think you guys are both type 9s. She could be a type 6, but if not, she's a 9. And I type you as a type 9 on the Enneagram as well, if you ever.
Yeah, that's kind of the type that I always get, is 9. Maybe some other types going on there, but probably 9. And it's true, most of my life has been about avoiding conflict. And there's been times where I kind of like lash out, or respond negatively to a situation, because I feel threatened, or I just feel like in a heightened emotional
Hi.
state. Yeah.
Hey, have you met my fiance, Alex? Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that emoji, it me.
yeah, you're talking about my fiance over here.
That's oh sorry. I said that. Oh, sorry. I was in her head. Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Why are you reading my mind,
Yeah.
Julian? Get out.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And so I'm on the opposite side where I don't mind conflicts. It doesn't scare me. It's okay. I don't want like tons of overwhelming conflict, but for the most part, I always feel in control of it, so I'm actually okay. And my lead function is like speaking before I think. Like I'm an external processor for those that are wondering.
Very much an external processor. I'm like,
So
what?
this is a
What?
freaking challenge with us. Is she's never externally processing. When she talks, it's all the way through all her functions. She's processed through. For me, it's the start of the line. So when I say crazy things, like
I take it to the heart. It's like
Yeah.
a dagger. I'm like, well, that's how I feel.
she thinks that's how I feel when I'm only 10% in my processing. You see what I'm saying?
I cannot get my brain
Yeah.
around it. I'm like, you said it, you mean it.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish that's how it was for me, but
Yeah.
like I'm saying things to process how I feel. So I'll throw things on two different perspectives, and people think
And then I'm
nuts.
just confused. as
Yeah,
well.
she'll think I'm crazy
Yeah.
because I'll be like, I love you, I want to choke you. Just playing. That's it. But you know, analogy, like
Right.
intuitive.
Analogy.
Okay? Yeah, and so
Should have used a better analogy.
I know.
Well, I mean, like, it's got to come out somewhere, you know, that masculine inner world. He's not actually choking her, but
No, he's not choking.
Unless you
about it.
ask.
well, you know,
Joshua!
what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Now I'm
True story.
embarrassed.
All right. But anyways, but yeah, so not unwillingly.
Gosh.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah. So, dude, like that. Okay, so that I noticed is our gift and our curse with the blast. She loves that I'm a blaster. I love that she's not a blaster because we both would be hogging airtime like
Yeah.
I'm doing right
Which
now.
we already do with play.
Yeah. She talks quite a bit because she has played,
But not
like,
about my feelings and stuff.
and not
Unless-
like me.
Yeah.
Mine's is a lot more aggressive. As you guys can see in the moment, I'm just
Yeah.
talking over.
He has to like dig it out of me.
Yeah. To get her to talk is like pulling hairs. I'm like, please tell me how you feel. Don't resent me. Like, and then she's like, everything's great. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna stab me in my sleep. Yeah, one day, if I end up freaking murdered, please know that it's coming from here. Don't think it's coming from anywhere else.
Right.
All these years of resentment.
Shut up.
He's prepared.
Yeah, 20 more years of her just everything's great. You know, just like, yeah. Dude.
I get that though. I think I can understand Alex's perspective because, like,
Yeah.
in my own world, if someone asks me, like, is everything going good? Like, is everything fine? You can think like, all right, maybe there is something that isn't going 100%. But then you have this internal debate where it's like, okay, is it just me? Am I the one who's responsible for this? Like, am I just going to be projecting something onto them that it's not fair for me to project onto them?
Yeah.
Or like two, in another scenario, you don't necessarily know how to word it right. You don't know how to
That's
actually
a lot of
communicate
Yeah.
what you're actually intending to communicate, because words can muddle up your intentions so badly. And like, you want to have it work, right? You want to make it work when you make your statement or whatever, like say there's something.
And you guys have a feel.
That's what I'm.
Well,
I'd say that's my biggest one is not knowing how to express the way I feel.
Okay, and I get misunderstood all the time, but because it's something that I'm confident in, a function that is my savior state, where I'm confident, I don't mind failing in it. So I actually don't care where she does care. That's why she cares so much. So she's seeing it as I care so much. And I know that I'm just throwing things out there and I don't mean it like all the time.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why things hurt me so much, is because I'm like, dude, I think so hard about the things I say so they don't come off mean. You know, I'm like, how are you saying mean things if you don't mean them? Because I'm like, if I say something mean, I probably believe or mean it. You know what I mean?
That's freaking interesting. Yeah, because that's my first thing. Yeah, that's my first step. That's her last step.
It's something that you can practice too, you know. Like, I find that the more that I practice being more conflictory, throwing out more insults and doing all that kind of thing, like it feels wrong when you're doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can kind of see the other perspective once you're doing it and say like, okay, so this doesn't have to be serious, like I don't have to be serious when I'm communicating like this. And so maybe I can see how they don't feel like it has to be serious when they're communicating like this, in a sense.
We should practice each other's.
The thing is, we're single deciders, Alex and I, and what that means is like we're IPs or EJs. So my FI and my TE functions are on poles, how I make my decisions. Making decisions is hard for me. It's always been one of the most challenging things to me in my life is actually saying, I'm going to make this decision because it feels so serious. It feels like when I've made a decision, I'm committed to a decision. And like it's like a black and white scenario. And that's just not the case. You look at your double decider friends and they're like going, oh, you can do this. It doesn't matter, man. Like do the decision. You can see things will change further on. It's like logically that makes sense. But in the moment, then with the feelings involved, it's so hard to just really nail down and say like, this is a decision I'm going to make. And so it makes sense that decisions based on your internal yourself and others is going to bleed through into communication. So when you feel like, oh, I can't really say this thing to you. Sorry?
That will help. This will help you guys make decisions because it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it will help you guys too. Okay. So if anyone's watching, they have a hard time making decisions. Here's what I would say. Okay. Think about, oh, by the way, let's see.
Rob Lowe. Who's
okay. So I am a double feminine. If we talk about objective personality typing, I'm a double
which is difficult. This is a lot of debate. No one's going to see Josh as an INTJ because objective personality, like
you'll see me as
detaches extroversion, introversion on this side, and it detaches controlling and not controlling, and it detaches like observers and deciders in such a way.
Yeah, he's aware of it. Okay, so. He is masculine, feminine, TISI. Oh, cool. So he's a IP like you. So
I'm FINI.
He's FINI. He's MF as well. What's your MF?
Sleep, consume, blast.
Okay. Oh, he said he knew Julian's. Okay. So So dude, no worries, brother. So I am a double feminine, NIFI. I mean NITE.
No, see, I think he's confused. I think there's confusion here because you're the NITE, and he says, "I know Julien is FFNITE." I think he thinks, but I'm Julien. He's Josh.
Oh, I'm Josh.
Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So so I'm double F NITE, and
the guy on the left, so Julien.
Yeah, I'm FINI. Sleep, consume, blast. MF FINI. Sleep, consume, blast.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so tip for decisions. All right, two things. Let me think. What are they saying? One thing that's helped me was thinking. Oh shoot, I forgot.
Feminine sensory.
Yeah.
what were we talking about? We got thrown.
My tip on helping people make decisions.
Oh yeah, the decision-making tip.
Let me think.
Then he meant
Josh. Just do it, bro. Just do it.
Oh, he meant me.
Okay.
Hey, bro. So yeah, I'm a double feminine, NITE, and then I'm blast, play, consume, sleep. All right, there you go.
There we go.
All right, no worries, brother.
We did it. Where's my camera? Thumbs up.
Yeah, there you go. And then
you can see we don't deal with chaos very well. We've been totally thrown off kilter here. Where are we?
And I'm just cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, she's cool with it. All right, so I think that if you have a hard time making decisions, I'm gonna blast my way through this because I forget. So I'll give you a couple small ones. So one is that there's no such thing as a mistake. Okay, you'll never know what that other decision would have done.
There's a big thing as a mistake.
No,
tell that to my parole officer.
I like it.
So that's my life decisions.
Okay, all right. So if you make a decision, always keep in mind if you make the other decision, you literally have no idea. We'll never know what else could happen. You could have got bit by a snake, hit by a bus, punched in the stomach by a sixth grader, then got embarrassed. Like, who knows? Okay. So you will never know on the other side. So that helps. Okay. Another thing that helps is you can always, here we go. This is this is the thing this is my philosophy. Tell me if this aligns for you, Julien, because just be honest. If this doesn't hit, let me know. For me, if you really believe in the perspective that only good things happen. Everything is happening for you, not to you. Because if you look at all the most painful things, we talked about this last time, all the most painful things in your life, all those things that's happened to you, you can see how it's something that made your life better every time, right? All of us can relate to that, right? So if that's the case, then things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. And if that is true, then only good things happen. So that kind of keeps me at peace internally, knowing, hey, like whatever this is happening, I can learn from it. There's abundance of opportunity around me where I can learn from it and grow from it. Okay. So I think that's super powerful for me. What do you think, Julien?
Yeah, no, the thing is that I agree with that. And when I get reminded of that, I can really, like, for everybody watching, here's something that Josh really helped me with recently is that I met this girl here in New Zealand and we got together and she was going to move back to America. And I was really sort of like on the fence of what to do in my life. I wanted to stay with her, but at the same time, I was really scared of moving to America and not really knowing what I would do and how that would work out. And Josh gave me this great advice and he said, like, look, man, these types of opportunities don't come around all the time. And basically, if you go through with it and it doesn't work out, well, you're like, you know what, whatever, man, like, what's the big deal? Because you're an IP and IPs are kind of known for being self-reliant and self-fulfilling in a sense. So, you know, if the worst case scenario happens and nothing works out, then you'll be fine, man, because you got yourself in a sense. And I thought like, well, yeah, of course. And then I was reminded that the things that I regretted the most in my life, being more on the introverted side of things, was not the things that I did, but the things that I didn't do.
Yeah.
And I like to live by not having regrets in general and saying like, okay, it was for the best. I learned valuable lessons from anything that I could say that I regret. But the only times that I had to really process and that really stung were the things that I didn't do and not the things that I did do. And so when a scary opportunity comes your way, I think that just from my own perspective and with the knowledge that you just said as well, that, you know, you can look at the positive side of things. You can put a positive spin on whatever happens. There's value in any situation. Maybe not any situation. Like
I think so.
I think every situation.
Yeah, you either win or you learn, right? Is in essence kind of what you're saying.
Or you die, which might not be that bad.
And guys, like, everything is so much better when you're growing. Think about when you're growing, you're happy. If you, like Tony Robbins says, one word to of happiness, one way to get there is just progress. Progress equals happiness. Okay. So if you're growing, that's building you and making you happier anyway. You're becoming a more self-reliant person, a more happy person, a more higher self-esteem, right? Think about that. So therefore, if you make a mistake, then what's the worst that can happen? Oh, you learn from it and then you grow and then you become stronger, better, smarter, more happy on the other side, probably, right? And there's always abundance of opportunity around us, in my opinion. Here I go starting blaster lessons. Yeah. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on it though. And I love what you said, Julien. That was like so good because I think so many people can relate to that.
Yeah. The thing is though, as an IP, as someone who has a difficult time making decisions, like that, my internal wiring will always be there telling myself that this decision is a big deal. That it's going to be like it's going to be a serious thing, you know, and that I got to think about it. I got to talk to people and I got to figure it out on my own and write shit down and be like, how am I going to make this decision? You know, this is a major decision. And sometimes it takes some like double decided friends who got your back to say like, look, it's not that big of a deal. Like, think about it. Or maybe it just takes your own like mantras and the things that you're telling yourself to say like, you know what, everything that happens for the best. Or like, I only regret what I didn't do, or, you know what, this is an opportunity, or I'm afraid, but I'm also excited. If you're afraid and you're also excited, this is what you said to me, Josh, too. And I felt it was really strong. Like, go for it. If you're afraid and excited, like, chances are it's a good idea to do it. You know, I mean,
and so like the two big things that I took from what you just said is like you'll never know either way. Period. All right. You're never going to know if you make the right decision or not because you can't live two lives simultaneously. Okay. So does it really matter?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could. I have a twin. Maybe he can go with the opposite decision. Right? But that, and then the other thing is nothing's written in stone. There's always opportunity. You can always go back to what you were doing before. You can move right back to New Zealand if you really wanted to. Mm-hmm. Nothing's stopping you. Right. And so I think that, yeah, right. I mean, and so But whatever you do, guys, like you'll be okay. It's been the most one, even for me as someone who doesn't have difficulty making decisions. When I still kind of apply those philosophies, it's so freeing knowing I can't make a wrong decision. It is so nice. So then I'll just make a decision no matter what. Either way, you'll be fine. You guys have always been fine your whole life, right? You'll be fine. If it's this decision of like murdering someone or not, then maybe that's a little more high stakes. But
yeah, honestly, the only time that I'm like saying like, well, maybe not for this or maybe not for that case, because like I agree with everything that you're saying, Josh, but there's that part of my mind that just knows the type of person, and I'm one of them, that wants to take something to an extreme just to break it down, and we're not talking about these extremes, all right? Like, please just bear in mind that where the extremes that your mind might want to jump to for fun, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about like killing people. We're not talking about killing yourself. We're not talking about anything.
Well, you got to weigh out your risk to reward ratio. You got to use some logic, right? Like, I mean, you don't have to, but it would be helpful. It's not like, should I sit down and eat peaches at a picnic or should I murder people? Like, I mean, come on, right? Like, it's a little different, right? Which one of those sounds like a better idea?
Well, my peaches aren't ripe yet, and I have a gun.
Yeah. Right, dude, right? So weigh out cause and effect, but we're talking about decisions that are like close in risk reward. I say, just like we said to Julien, like if something's exciting but you're afraid to do it, freaking do it every time. If you feel excited and you're afraid to do it, do it. Either way, you'll learn about yourself, you'll learn about your decision making, you're gonna learn something that's gonna help you in the future either way. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. Now, do you want to anything else on that before we go, or do you want to talk about dreams? Because we wanted to talk about some dreams.
We are going to talk about dreams, but there is one more thing that I wanted to say, and it just has to do with like Josh is speaking from more of like an extroverted perspective. Yes, he's an INTJ and objective personality, but we all agree that he's more of an extroverted type of person based on energy levels, based on communication, and for him, this is what he's talking about. It works for him and it's true. You know what? This is one of those things in life where it's like, yeah, this is probably true and it applies to most people. And I just wanted to explore the introverted side of why we get this hesitation and this type of shit or whatever. And I feel like just within my own life, when it came to making decisions, it was just so stuck in your own head of trying to plan and plot and make something work that's perfect, that aligns with you, especially because I have FI and NI as my lead functions, which, in MBTI doesn't work, but, I believe that it's true. And so as FI and NI, what I'm concerned about is my priorities for my future personalized, my personal values in the future personally. And so but I don't have the more extroverted functions. I'm very much so on the introverted side. So I'm not like just throwing shit at the wall. I'm not going to go out and actually just try and do things. I'm going to sit there in my own world, in my own head, and ask myself, like, how am I going to make this decision? Like, what should I do? What can happen? And you get this sort of like analysis paralysis, as they call it, in which you're trying to overanalyze things and you're trying to make the perfect decision. And I think that forget about it. What Josh is saying, and I'm going to mirror that, and I'm going to say the same thing, is like, just go and throw some shit at the wall. Just do something, like for the longest time, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I have no idea what the perfect value to future situation is. And I just started doing things. I started writing, like I like writing a lot. It's one of the things that I like to do. And so I said, fuck it, I'm going to commit myself to writing articles from now on and writing and just run with that and have a consistent routine going on and just work that for a long time and see what happens. Like, I'm not concerned about immediate gratification. I'm not concerned about if it's the right choice, if it aligns with my absolute perfect idea of values and my absolute perfect ideal of who I am is going to be in the future. Because, we learn so much from our failures. We learn so much by doing. It's this analogy. I don't even know if it's true, but I love it. It's this idea that there was this teacher in a school and he was teaching photography, and he split the class into two groups. And to one group, he said, all right, your project for the year for all your marks is to take one perfect photo. And for the other group, he said, all right, your task for the year is to take 1,000 photos. Doesn't matter how good, just you have to take 1,000 photos, and you judge it based on all these photos that they take. And the group that took that one photo compared to the group that took the 1,000 photos had a worse quality photo in the end as their final product than the group who took 1,000 photos. Is it a real story? I don't know, but it just sort of imparts that idea that you practice, or you learn by practicing, and you develop through practicing and seeing for yourself if this works, if this doesn't work. Because like, how are you going to plan before you've ever done anything? Like, I know that NI wants to plan before they've ever done it. They want to project it in their own mind. They want to figure out how is this going to actually play out. But you can't really know unless you've gone and adapted your body in like a muscle memory, mental memory sort of way to a situation. I don't know if that makes any sense. The bottom line is, forget about analysis paralysis. Just go out and do some shit.
I think people overvalue their thinking. Okay, so I think that like you can learn as much as you want. They overvalue this, and I think they undervalue experience. Right? You don't really know something, in my opinion, until you experience it, but you understand it. Right? You can understand something, but I don't think you really know it until you do it. But that's just my 2 cents on that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. And so,
do you want to talk really quick about anxiety? Because I know that's a hot topic, and this kind of relates to anxiety. Have you suffered from anxiety at all, Julien?
Social anxiety. I've suffered from a lot of social anxiety, and then like low-level anxiety where it comes to trying to decision makings, like we've been talking before, like where it comes to like I'm sat alone in my room and I'm thinking like, what am I going to do with my future? I don't have any credentials. I don't have any career. Like, what is my future gonna? How am I gonna? What is my future coming to? And that kind of like brings about a low-level anxiety. But at the end of the day, it's not like a huge amount of anxiety. It's kind of like, well, whatever, you know, like today is today. And I'm trying to figure it out, but I also have this life to live, and you have your coping mechanisms. And then just in social situations, like if I would go to a party or whatever, and there'd be groups of people I don't know, and I have like one common friend, I would just try to stick to that common friend, but it doesn't work out because like that friend probably knows a bunch of other people. They're hanging out with other people, and you're sat there and you're like, and for me, usually I would just like stand there like alone, like, yes.
What do I do now?
Too much social anxiety to just talk to a group of random strangers and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, how you doing? Because it feels like, why would I talk to these people? Like, what am I possibly trying to get from them? Like, what am I trying to impart to them? Like, what is this weird idea of usefulness and value in my mind, which is like, that's not really how it works. It's just for fun, you know, it's just for new experience and whatever. And living in hostels is great because like I've lived in a hostel for the past 9-10 months or whatever, and it's great. You're all there kind of in this doing the same thing, and you just meet these people and you have a giant group of friends. But yeah, that's my experience with anxiety. How about you?
Well, 2 things. So one, yes, I definitely struggle with anxiety. Both of us have like a lot. But we also have our highest human need is connection, right? And so like for us, connecting with someone without an end goal is like super important to us. But I wrote out 5 rules, 5 things tips for anxiety that worked for me. And I thought I'd share them with anybody watching in case you guys do have anxiety that you wouldn't Google, you wouldn't find anywhere online. So here's my 5 tips that I realized work for me. Okay, guys, really quick is 1, of course you have heard this, but working out. And so if it's between like lifting weights or doing cardio, I find that cardio works a lot better for my anxiety levels. We both are prone to depression and anxiety. So if we don't work out, we can go cray. Okay. So there's that. Number 2 is you're likely unprocessed about something that you've been avoiding. So go ahead and just journal. And you don't have to solve the problem majority of the time. You just need to get awareness of what's bothering you. Okay. So that's number 2. And I have some great freaking journaling tips for those that want to journal. But we can talk about that another time. Number 3, I had to get really good at journaling. So I figured some great stuff out. But number 3 is don't push the anxiety away. Realize it that you have it and get used to that feeling, that sensation. And just sit with it and don't move and observe it because it's the same physical sensation as excitement. And the only difference is what you label it in your head. Okay. So, so it's just excitement. Same as you're going on a roller coaster. It's the same feeling, guys. So just remain, you're stoked about that, right? So just keep that in mind. Number 4 is nothing beats meditation for anxiety. So the studies show that 8 minutes a day. KK says journaling tips. Okay, all right, I'll get to it in a second. So the number meditation. Okay, so the studies show that 8 minutes a day keeps the anxiety away. So if you can do 10, yeah. So me and her do 10 minutes before bed and 10 minutes right when we wake up, first thing before we look at our phones or anything. Okay. And then number 5 is just a few good breaths. So we have a picture on my Instagram that says a few good breaths of me and her. And if you can just, it can do wonders for just like 1 or 2 breaths. If you just focus on the feeling of the air going in or leaving your nose and or mouth, and just 2, and then take a really long, slow one. Slowly in, slowly out, as long and slow as you can. Just 2 breaths of that will really help recenter you, and then you'll be like, okay, you'll get a separation from whatever that's been going on, so that way you can see it from a higher vantage point almost. Okay, so there's my 5 tips. Hope that's helpful. And as far as the journaling tips, I can go into that really quick. Okay, so journaling. So do you want to say your experience with journaling and like? Okay, I'll tell you a really brief story. I just not gonna lie.
Say the damn thing.
All right. So me and her were trying to figure out. We realized that you have to acknowledge the internal thinking part, and you also have to acknowledge your emotions, and you can't ignore either one. So what we decided to do was we started just saying that we're going to speak emotionally to each other and just say all the meanest things that we want to say or whatever, and just let each other have it. But understand that it's not the language. Yeah, as IP and EJs, right?
No, that sounds amazing. I'm just like, oh, I'd love to try that, but wow, that's scary.
Well, you can't judge those words because you have to understand that those words are just emotions wanting some air. It's just your emotions wanting a voice.
No, but wait, sorry. I think I missed something. Do you say that to each other, or do you just journal it down?
No, well, we started with saying it to each other. Then we realized it's probably going to be a little bit more effective if we journal it. So we switched it up.
So be super petty.
Yeah. But you get super petty, and you don't. I'm just pulling it up here. I'm not text messaging this. But we realized that you don't judge those words. It's just the language of emotions, guys. It's not what you think. So if I say you're stupid and you have stupid glasses, that doesn't mean all of us have 4 eyes right now, which is pretty cool.
I got the stupidest glasses for sure.
Yeah. Oh. But that's not what I think. That's just what my emotions are saying. Do you see what I'm saying? And so acknowledging that, so you can't never judge the words you say when you're journaling emotions. You can't judge those words, okay? Very important. It's not what you think. It's just the language of emotions, which is just emotions. It's not logical, okay? That's important. So first we journal the emotional side. Then after on one side of the paper, then we journal the logical side on the other side of the paper, okay? Then one thing I found that works really good for me is then I'm getting myself in an optimal state, okay? So what I mean by that is you can change your brain chemistry by changing your physiology. So motion creates emotion. So if you prop up like this, put a big smile on your face and then laugh, it's going to change your brain chemistry as opposed to, and I know this is a micro tip because some people's like, I'll do this all day and I don't feel happier, but it's impossible to be depressed when you're keeping your body in that posture, right? As opposed to when you're depressed and you're slumped down like this, then of course you're going to exude so many thoughts that align with that, okay? But whatever helps you get in an optimal state, whether it's music, whether it's listening to some personal development. For me, it's like listening to Gary Vee helps me feel like, okay, I could achieve things. Whatever makes you feel like there's possibilities, right? And you can do something beyond where you're capable of right now. That's
so wait. I'm sorry. Can I just go back a little bit? I don't know if this is my bad or not, but are we still talking about journaling?
Journaling, yes.
You're talking about writing down activities that you can do?
Yes. Okay, so I'll be sorry, guys. So step 1 is journaling your emotions first and then your logic second. But step 2 is just being aware, I guess, that you cannot judge the words you say when you're journaling emotions. It's not what you mean, but you need to get it out. Get it out, okay? And then number 3 is get yourself in an optimal state. So now you're outside of the problem, all right? Of whatever you do. So now you feel like you can conquer the world when you're in a higher state. Think about when you're in a low level state and then you go meet your spouse and they say, those glasses look weird. Then you're going to be freaking pissed off and angry and whatever. But if you're in a great state and they say that, you'll just laugh and think it's funny. You're staying. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you can put yourself in an optimal state where you feel like Superman, you can achieve anything, then man, when you journal from that perspective, it's just like you have the freaking power. You can think so clearly. Okay. And so number 4 says like, now you can re-journal your logical thoughts. So I'll hit it again. And then I look from everybody's perspective and then I'm just above it. Right. And then number 5 is just learn the difference of the voices in front of you. Okay. So are inside of you, the 2 sides, right? So just now go back and then maybe reread it and see the difference. And that's pretty much my journaling process. And one last thing, actually, a bonus, I guess, is doing your gratitude journaling before or after or whatever. But we learn to like write down the why of what you're feeling. Because I was journaling my gratitude every day, and it didn't really change much. I did it for like 2 years straight. And then when I realized, I have to go into the why am I grateful for this? Then that takes it to the next level because you're going more processing and getting more clarity. And then you really start to see gratitude around you all day. So anyways, I know it's kind of messy because I'm still working on that piece, but I think that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I found a very powerful, just speaking of gratitude for a moment, I found this exercise to be quite powerful. And it's really just a mantra in which we consider NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And you just go for a walk, however long, and you repeat in your head, thank you, And at first, it just seems kind of cheesy and like, what am I doing? When you're just going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It might even sound kind of robotic in your head. But then as you're observing the world and these words of thank you are repeating in your head, you start looking at things from a perspective of gratitude. I don't know if this applies to everybody. It applied to me. And I would just like look at a tree and I'm saying, thank you, thank you, thank you in my head. I'm like, this is great. Thank you for the tree. Like, it's a great tree. And then actually feel it inside myself. And see like an old lady walking down the street, and like, thank you, old lady, thank you. And then if I actually said that, she'd probably be like, get away from me, you kidnapper.
Kidnapper.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very good.
Thank you.
No,
KK. Okay.
Yeah, those were some great journaling tips. And I find that from the perspective of Josh being more like having to seek out and find the processing within himself, I feel like he's going to have great tips because this is something that he's going to have to put conscious effort into. And like for me, like I don't do that kind of thing because my whole life is processing my emotions. Like that is what I live and breathe. That is what I spend too much time doing, that I get way too stuck in my head. So when I have to process emotions, what actually helps me the most that I eventually have to get to is literally just calling up as many people as I know and talking to them about my situation that I'm in, that I'm like, okay, so this is happening to me. Exactly. It's like my internal processing doesn't work anymore. I have to externally process now, and I have to get feedback from other people.
By the way, yeah.
Sorry?
I typically do both, by the way. So I never just stick with just the internal processing. I'm always pairing it. If it's something that's really important or hard to figure out, I'm always pairing it. For me, my natural state is to go to talk to other people. So that is like where I start, and I usually can kind of get close enough. But doing both together, you can get through whatever situation that's hard for you. You just might have to. I like a lot of different perspectives. I love it, and I hope they're very extreme. I hope they're far from what I think naturally. Then I can really start pulling the parts that I like and start making my own thoughts about it, my own philosophy about it.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate having, even though it can be so difficult, man. It's like, how difficult is it to hear such like a perspective that is opposite yours confront you and then have a growth mindset to say like, there's probably some value in here, and like I just can't see it. Like that to me, that is so difficult. I have a brother, my twin brother. He has maybe like a
you got a twin too?
Yeah, I have a twin.
That's right.
I got a twin.
I know.
Not identical. But he's not identical, but I have a twin. And
we
his
both had twins, guys.
Very weird. We got twins. what the hell's going on here?
I don't.
Not clones.
I don't have no twins.
Get out! No,
I'm gone.
Really quick though, do you have any tips that you found for processing and journaling and tough emotions and things like that?
I'm kind of like Julien. I have to process super tough emotions with other people because I can't figure it out. I can't figure out a resolution. I can figure out what I'm feeling, but I can't figure out a resolution to my problem.
Right.
Yeah. That's usually how I feel.
I kind of feel the flip.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really know what I'm feeling. Once I get that, because I usually I know the solutions. That's not that hard for me to figure out. Maybe because I'm I'm intuitive and thinker. So it's like I figure things out, but that's my strong suit. But the hard part for me is usually figuring out what am I feeling? How do I really feel about that morally? How do I feel about that value-wise? That stuff is a lot more challenging for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found journaling like in high stress situations, especially if it's with people, like to me, people would be a big issue. But I found just writing down exactly my perspective of what happened, like line by line, event by event, what transpired. Usually by the end of the time I write it, I can kind of have, for some reason, I have this outside perspective in which I'm like, oh, actually, like,
I like that.
and when it's written on paper, I'm like, I'm being a bit harsh here. I can actually see better the other person's perspective. Like I'm a bit too like inflamed right now.
Oh, and you know what? I do something similar when I'm pissed at someone and I want to text them nasty stuff.
Whenever I see the ... for like 15 minutes, I'm like, oh, and then he sends back like, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh
I
my God.
all my frustration and whatever, and I say completely pure from the heart, whatever I feel. Okay. I get it all out. And then what I usually do is I'll usually wait till the next day and I can see it from fresh, clear perspective. But with my fiance, I have to get back to her quicker. So I have to do this process quicker. But usually I'll try to get to it the next day. And then I always can see instantly. I'm like, dude, you're being like too harsh there. Oh, dude, that's not fair. That's just pure emotion here. And then that's a bad move for the future here. So this is what you should do. This is smart. I see it within a few seconds.
It's like, hilarious though. I'm like, oh, he went in on me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, angry texting.
Yeah, it can be somehow. I don't know how it is for you, Josh, but like being on the introverted side of things, I find that silence and not immediately communicating sometimes works in my favor, in which when I am sort of wrong and I want to react in a negative way, and then I have time to just stop and to think and to walk and process and think like, hey, what is right in this situation? Like what is the higher path in this? And then realize like, okay, all that other bullshit that I was thinking about, all that negativity, all that threatened type of stuff I was thinking about, that was all kind of, where was that coming from? That was all.
Yes, dude, spot on. You'll rarely see a crazy message come out of my words, out of my phone. Rarely. Because I know when I'm emotional, I know when I'm logical. And so, and you get used to knowing. For me, that's a hard thing for me to know by nature. So I got used to it. I just know now. So it's rare you'll see me make bad moves on a text message. I might do it right in person because I don't have the processing time, but not in a text message or an email.
Yeah, I fucked up on that. It just bites me in the ass,
Yeah, I felt bad too many times. I had so many regrets. That regret taught me that. I realized I never felt good about writing something emotionally and sending it. Not once. I've always regretted it. Even if they didn't respond all crazy, it doesn't matter. I felt bad because I knew I was out of line. And then I felt bad too many times. So I don't make that mistake anymore.
And I don't know how other people feel about this.
Really quick, that's when mistakes are good for you though. Because now it got me to the point where I never make that mistake again. So did I really make the wrong decision back then? Just example what we were talking about earlier. I didn't make wrong decisions doing that. I needed that because now I never will make that mistake again. No matter how high level of an opportunity I get, person I talk to or anything that can affect my life for reals, I won't make that mistake again. So
pain is a valuable teacher. And I feel like that supports what we're talking about, running towards, we haven't said this explicitly, but the idea of running towards your fears, running towards failure, because pain is one of the greatest teachers that you'll ever have. Like, why is it that some parents let their kids touch the stove or whatever? And why is this like a thing that we talk about? It's because when a kid touches a stove and they get burnt, they learn a valuable lesson that they might never learn if it's just intellectualized. And that pain can really, it'll stick with you, you know, it'll be ingrained in you. And I felt this exactly as you're saying. This is how I've learned as well not to. And I was just going to say that I don't know how other people feel about this. Maybe other people would like to weigh in on this, but I find that I might have the idea that I'm no longer emotional when I'm writing a message, and yet I still am. There's a knowledge that I know that I am still.
That's why
like,
I wait till tomorrow.
I maybe exactly, because I maybe rewrite it 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, okay, I'm injecting too much emotional words in this, and so like delete all the emotional words. Like just stick to the basic facts. Like just stick to it. But I feel like if you are still in that emotional state, even if you stick to your subjective idea of the facts, it's still going to come across in 100%. A negative sense. And it's not going to work.
That's why you need I need actual sleep. And I have a question for you about the fears, because my nature, I want to know what your nature is when it comes to fears, both of you guys. Because for me, I run toward my fears because I hate feeling scared of things. So I literally run toward failures, which is also fear, and I run toward fears. And so for me, it makes logical sense, right? Like if I run toward it, then I don't feel the fear anymore because now I know it was nothing to do. So I shut my brain off and I just go. Like I have this automatic system to shut my brain off, go, right? And so for me, that's been a very, very powerful thing for me. It's literally just part of my DNA now. The second I feel that I'm scared of anything, I shut my brain off and I just go jump. Okay, so I'm curious too. That's my fight or flight. So our therapist says like my flight or flight response, flight, fight, freeze is fight. So maybe it's part of, I don't know if it's part of my natural state in that sense, but what about yours, babe? Like what is your, how do you handle fear? And because pain times resistance equals suffering. So if you're feeling pain and then you're not like acknowledging it, you're suffering, right? Or if you're feeling fear times resistance equals suffering because you're not running toward it. You're not dealing with it. It's just staying fearful and it's probably growing inside of you. I don't even give it time to grow. I don't give it time. It's just I run toward it. Okay. So what is your natural state when it comes to like fearful, scary things?
I freeze.
Okay. So she freezes. Okay. And then that makes you, would you agree that makes you suffer or do you think not?
Yeah, I suffer a lot.
Right. Okay. So why haven't you ran toward it to end the suffering?
Because it's scary.
But think about all our fears. All of our fears. Every time that we've been fearful and you just do the thing, everything was scary before you did it. Driving a car was probably scary before you done it. Now it's like not, right? So I'm wondering if like
I get stuck.
They're always overhyped in your head. Right?
I think it's just the decision thing. I just get stuck and I can't make a decision and I avoid.
That makes sense. Well, that's why you need an automatic process where you just like the second you get conscious awareness, you're scared of something, you just run toward it. Just literally shut your brain off and just go dive in the deep end. That's what I do at least. What about you, Julien? What's your flight or flight freeze response?
Probably flight, just to even things out here. But no, I do have a sense that I have always, for a long time, when things gone bad, I just run away. I just, I turn my back. I say like, I'm out. I've suffered enough of this. And to be honest, like I completely agree with you. It doesn't work, like you run away so many times and you realize like I'm just trying to run from myself and there is no running from yourself. What you're running away from is basically just your own inherent fears within yourself. It's a fear of your own self in a sense, because what you're afraid of is your own incapability to handle a situation. So if you're fearing yourself, then like when you try to run away, if you change location, if you change relationships, if you change jobs, you're trying to run from yourself. You can't run from yourself. You can't. It's impossible. You're always going to be there, And so so I'm working on more of that running towards fear type of thing. And like it's not 100% inside me now, but at the same time, what I like to do is if I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm struggling or I'm suffering and I want to run away, if your inclination is to run away, I like to stick with it 1% more. And if I can push that just a little bit more, just every time I feel like running away, I just stick with it a bit longer. And that's how you grow, you just stick with it a bit longer. You crawl a bit more forward. I love this analogy that Dave and Shannon had from Objective Personality in military. Like when they were crawling in the bush or whatever of like Vietnam or whatever kind of war zone they're in, and like they're in just like the most trying of times and they're wounded and they have to crawl, they're under enemy fire. And the only thing that kept them going to move forward is that they would draw a line in the sand ahead of them, and they'd say, okay, I'm just going to crawl until my feet reach that line. And then they would do that again and again, because when you see your goal in front of you, you can have the motivation and the confidence to get there. But if you can't see where your goal is in front of you, then it's going to look so much scarier, because it's just like the dark. It's like fear of the dark, basically. It's the unknown.
So here's now I just processed like what helped me get that mindset. I don't know if anybody naturally runs toward their fears. I don't know. Actually, now I think about it, I was always a flight guy, I think. Even a freeze. I've been a lot of both. But what I actually did was, the big thing was like doing these small daily disciplines every day, like taking a cold shower. I'm afraid to take cold showers still to this day, every day. Yeah. But I do them every time I shower, once a week, because I was like, because those little things add up to this, because it gives me self-trust, right? And self-esteem is self-trust. And I'm born with low self-esteem, I'd say, on nature, but I built it up where I feel like I have great self-esteem now. It finally took freaking forever, right? But then the last thing I was going to say was, and it was good, with fear tips.
Sensory.
Gosh, man, I know.
Tip of the tongue.
Something about us. Oh, running from yourself. Okay. So getting out the habit of not running from yourself, that's built a lot of my self-esteem. So me and Alex got sober for like 6 months completely. And we did not realize that, even from weed and everything, right? I never was a big smoker, but anyways, actually I was at a time, but anyways. But running, that I realized anytime I have the craving to eat a lot of food, to watch TV, to do anything but be able to sit in peace, I'm running from myself. And then when you just sit there, you realize that there was nothing to really be afraid of. It's just like, oh, okay. You just think about whatever it was. Like I said with the journaling, it's like, oh, I was really just afraid because I didn't want to. I felt this sensation. Then you sit the sensation, like, oh, this isn't too bad. There's nothing. It can't get worse. It's just a sensation. I'm okay. I'm safe. And being sober is a good way of teaching that for those who are daily using something, right? I realized that really, really helped us a lot. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. But that also speedball, like speedball.
Oh my gosh, that's
speedball drugs, yeah. But that's
sped up my ball.
Yeah. That helps a lot too. But dang. All right, I'll try to think next time for maybe the next talk, because I need to process. I worked really hard on this. I'm processing. Like I've done a lot of like running toward my fears to get that automatic habit. A lot of the little stuff though.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's what I was gonna say. Got it. Kobe Bryant was saying that when you're afraid of something, it's because you're not practiced. It's because you didn't do your job practicing. So he said, why would I be nervous for a game when it's something I've done a million times because I put in the work? He said, you didn't put in enough work, so you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your abilities, and that's why you're scared. But he said he would never get nervous before a game because he does it nonstop. He's like, I work 10 times harder than anybody I know, so I'm prepared. So he just said it's a lack of preparation because you didn't put in the work, and that's why you're afraid. I love that analogy. I love that concept as well.
I agree. And I definitely agree with that running towards your fear whole thing, and the cold showers. I do those as well. It's like just getting out of your comfort zone a little bit every day, right? Every day you get a little bit out of it, because the big fears in your life, that's going to be hugely out of your comfort zone. And I mean, there's been times where I ask myself, like, what are my biggest fears? Like what truly is my biggest fear? And then try to move towards that and move towards that. And it's so scary, but you chip away at it, right? Like you don't have to dive off the deep end. Like you can just
tell myself that too.
Chip away, just get more and more. And then like you get rewarded hugely. And it's like what you said with Kobe Bryant, that you're afraid because you haven't practiced. And so when you put in the practice, like you can practice a little bit, right? You can practice, you can be easy on yourself. You can practice. And the fears will get smaller, the fears will diminish. You'll be less afraid. And when you don't have fears standing in the way of you, then your confidence will be increased, and you just feel like so much more capable and so much more at ease in your own body. Like I felt just the very fact that I knew that I had a fear in my life that I wasn't addressing made me feel slightly uncomfortable almost all the time, just to be me, just because I knew I had a fear that I wasn't figuring out. I wasn't resolving. If you have a fear like that in your life, listeners, I definitely urge you to just consider, how can I move towards this very slowly? How can I just slowly move towards this? Because you can chip away at it. You don't have to dispel it overnight. You can chip away at it little bit.
Great. That's how, okay. That's another thing I use for bigger ones is I use the momentum. That's another too. But it goes, you can go think of it like waves. Like you go a little bit and then come back out whenever you feel like it. You don't have to stay there. You go a little bit further next time and then come back out. You don't have to stay there. And then just keep going. And then you start getting that habit of the habit. Yeah, there you go. So
it's persistence, really.
Yeah, the skunk just
our windows are open, and I think that there was a skunk that just sprayed outside the window.
He just went mad.
That's straight skunk.
To our viewers, now you know a skunk just went outside.
All this great information, but man, there's a skunk outside.
I just it's overwhelming my senses right now.
Oh man.
Squirrel.
Okay, so let's wrap up in a few minutes. But
I think it's
Are you on cover?
Sorry.
Anything else you want to cover before we give a wrap?
Look, I think that we've said the best type of things that we can say for this right now. We wanted to talk about dreams. We'll have to get to that next time because we have sort of hit our peak amount of time, I think, for interest here. If anybody's still watching,
if you have
I don't know who to congratulate at this point, but thank you so much for watching.
Yes. And guys, if you guys do like these kind of calls, please let us know because and then please give us the topics that you guys want us to talk about because we enjoy doing these on Saturday nights for all of us nerds that aren't out doing cool stuff on Saturday nights. But
Sundays.
Sundays in Julian's case, this way.
Sunday days, afternoons.
Yes, but guys, please let us know, and we really appreciate it lots, and we have fun doing it, and we have some a bunch of really really sick topics that we've been talking about coming up that are going to be really dope, and every other week we're going to have a special guest probably come on. We're thinking about doing so. We got some really dope guests in the cooker right now. So we got some. I don't know if we should name drop yet, but we got some.
I don't think we should name drop yet. I think that we should keep it a secret.
Right.
Well, we'll let people.
We got President Obama coming on.
Oh my God!
Oops, I name dropped. Oh,
President Obama.
Yeah, that's right.
We got Jesus risen from the dead. The hologram of Jesus. They got the AI program and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's right. So
no, but I think this has been a good conversation for sure. And I enjoyed too. And honestly, Josh and I, we really focused on imparting value. That's what we want to do. That's our goal with these videos. It's fun. We're having fun talking about whatever. But like Josh said, if you have anything that you all want to listen to, or that you want to hear us talk about, or any suggestions, or whatever you want to see us do differently, we're open to feedback 100% because we really are just focused on imparting value to the viewers. Really.
You know what, Julien, what we can do is maybe we can turn these series into a podcast. So we can do a personality type Q&A podcast. We can rip the audios, take 2 seconds, and maybe start a podcast with these. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
That and then the last thing is I really like the glasses on you, bro. They're pretty fresh. They look good.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I can't help but think of Bono because they're slightly yellow tinted. I'm just
Oh, I can see the yellow a little bit now as you say it. We all kind of got the same similar shaped glasses. Mine are just a bit smaller, but it's small, medium, large, or large.
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
So I like it. Go glasses, team.
Go glasses. I like glasses. I mean, honestly, these aren't prescription glasses to anybody. These are blue light glasses just to block out the blue light from computers because I'm an NF hippie. But to be honest, I just like the aesthetic of glasses. That's the main reason I bought them. I'm I got an extra reason here, blue light, but glasses, come on.
All right.
I try to avoid my glasses.
Yeah, she doesn't like her glasses. Do you like her glasses on, or do you like the without them more?
I like the glasses, but like I just said, I like the aesthetics of glasses. So
I think glasses are sick. Yeah, I ran out of contacts one day, and then I just left them, and now everyone knows me for my glasses.
And it was like right when I met him, he's like, "Oh, I look better without." I'm like, "No, you wear glasses."
I think I look better.
I'm like, I literally met him with glasses. It's like you can't switch it for me now.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I ran out like the week before I met her, and I just was too lazy because I had to go get a new prescription. And that's a lot of sensory work for me. So I'm like, I don't really feel like doing a whole new eye exam.
It takes 10 minutes.
The thing is, like,
controlling chaos.
I get the convenience side of not wanting to wear glasses and wanting to wear contacts, but I've never understood like the side of like I don't like how they look. I've always thought glasses look so cool, and I'm like, I do like that I have probably like good vision, but I almost wished at a point that I didn't have good vision just so I had a good excuse to wear glasses. I'm like, I want to wear glasses.
Hilarious. Dude, until you wake up in the morning and you don't have glasses, and you're like, where am I?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'm sure it's actually horrible. I don't actually want it, but
yeah, that's true. Yeah, because now, like, since I ran out of contacts, everybody knows me as the glasses and hat guy. It's just like I could have an emoji with glasses and a hat, and they're like, "That's Josh."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess it kind of turned into my
glasses and hat.
Yeah.
Oh, someone else just jumped on. Sorry, guys. We are wrapping up, but
wrap it up. Thanks.
We're gonna be on next week, same bad channel, same bad time. So we're thinking about 9 Mountain Standard, maybe 8 though.
Yeah, I think it'll be different. It'll be a bit different next week, Josh, because I was telling you about my schedule. I can't do this day next week, but maybe the day before.
Okay,
So on Friday.
Friday, guys. Yeah.
Friday.
Do Friday. So we can send out a post on the Objective Personality like main group a little bit before, but it will be 8 or 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. One of those. We're gonna probably try for 8, but we'll see. I don't know what our schedule looks like on Friday.
Yeah, 8 or 9. That's all good.
We can maybe so it'll be on one of those. But more people are popping on. Well, sorry guys.
Sorry guys, we're just wrapping up now.
Next on Friday though, about 8 Mountain Standard Time. If not, it'll be 9 Mountain Standard Time, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So thanks everybody who stuck it through and watched this video, and you can watch the replay on YouTube. We talked about, relationships and how our functions and our typology played into negative aspects of relationship and how to resolve that. And we also talked about anxieties and fears and growth and glasses, skunks. Talked about all that.
So we got my 5 tips for anxiety and my 5 tips for journaling. So those are both dope if you guys want to replay through about 2/3 through. I think those are dope. Well,
got the tips.
Yeah.
Of course he's gonna. Should hope so. Yeah. I gave some shitty tips on fucking this and that.
Yeah. So you're not gonna want to watch that part. Yeah. So.
All right,
guys. Well, thank you guys so much. We love all of you, and till next week.
See everybody.
You guys.
Much love.
Say bye, babes.
Bye.
Peace.